defensive coordinator for Frank Sandoval at West Mesquite, and former Cedar Hill football player and also a part of a Joey McGuire staff there. Dustin, thanks for your time. What does today mean to players who played or those who have coached with Joey McGuire?
Man, it's extremely special. We've known that this day will come at some point, and it's just exciting that it's finally here. It's no surprise to us. It just, can't illustrate how excited we are, and we just everybody wants to reach out to him, just give him love, and his hard work has paid off, and we're extremely excited for him.
When did you know that Joey McGuire was going to be a big time head college football coach?
As soon as he started making talks of it, once his son would graduate high school, that he wanted to go that route. And I knew once he wanted to go that route, it was going to be just a matter of time before he got a big-time head job. There was no doubt about it. He's just anybody he comes in interaction with, he's gonna make their day or change their life somehow. So there was no question that he would never be a head football coach in the college ranks.
Dustin, what kind of attributes, what kind of things do you think Texas Tech fans can look forward to as he starts to put his fingerprints on the program early on?
Well, you're going to get a guy that is going to bring it every single day. He never slows down. He's always going to have a smile on his face. If you play for him, if you work for him, you're going to have fun. But don't take that the wrong way that he's not intense. This guy is intense, and he wants to win, and he wants everybody who's a part of that program to be successful. It doesn't matter if you're an assistant coach. It doesn't matter if you're a janitor. It doesn't matter if you're an equipment manager. It doesn't matter if you're fourth on the depth chart. He wants you as the individual to be successful, and he wants you to buy into what his message is. And you're not going to have a choice. You're going to, and you're going to from the first time you meet him. You're going to be bought in because this guy brings it. He's intense. He's going to get the best thing out of anybody that's around him, and that's what makes him special. So Texas Tech better be ready because you're going to have a lot of fun. And it's going to be intense, and the whole state of Texas is behind him. I just visited with a school across town, and that was one of the first things they said. What do y'all think about Coach McGuire? And everybody is talking about it. If Texas Tech was worried about if it wasn't a big name, making a splash or something like that, they got the whole state of Texas and the Texas High School Coaches Association on his side. So they couldn't grab a better guy for the job.
I've seen the video of him, and I believe it was a pregame speech before a state championship game. And I know your timeline. You played there. It's been a while. But and you may have been on that staff or not. Do you remember the video of the pep talk or whatever it is I'm talking about?
There's several out there.
Yeah.
There's his pregame speeches they're unreal. They're so genuine. They're from the heart. But like I said, he's intense. And I think the one that you're talking about was it was a game before Southlake in the first round. It's have no fear. How do you want to be remembered? Whatever his message is, you're gonna believe it in your heart, and your soul, and you're gonna do anything you can for him to go out there, get a win for your family, and a win for Coach McGuire. It's special to be a part of. It's special to be around him.
Yeah, I've said that he reminds me. I've had a saying that says, "Stick your head in a tank of gasoline, light it with a match, full throttle." Is that a pretty good way to describe him?
Oh yeah. There was a time we were playing our crosstown rival, and it was my first time coaching, and I wanted to be like Coach McGuire, and so I wanted to get in front of the team and have this big message. And I asked him beforehand. I said, "Hey, I'm going to need you to slap me." And he just kind of looks at me and goes, "What?" I said, "Yeah, I'm going to need you to slap me." And so he goes, "Okay." And we get up there, and I start going through my speech and everything, and he slaps me, and I put this blood capsule in, and I start spitting blood, and he freaking loved it. And the kids loved it, but I just, even as a young coach, I was still trying to impress them. And I think that's the people that the kids that he's going to bring in and recruit. I mean, that's what they're going to want to do. They're constantly going to want to impress them, and he's gonna make an impact on a lot of lives and a lot of family trees more than he already has already.
Dustin, thanks for your time. Appreciate it. We know Joey pretty well, but I wanted to get a different perspective from somebody that also played for him and also, as you mentioned, a young coach. Thanks for your time and enjoy. That's Dustin Maddox. He's the defensive coordinator at West Mesquite under Frank Sandoval. Sandoval, he also was a part of that Joey McGuire staff until he went to Baylor. From Gary Lewis, part 1 of 2 on Covered 3 podcast. Danny Cannell couldn't understand why McGuire being wired into the Texas High School Football Coaches Association or into the schools is so important. You don't have to be. Matt Rule wasn't. Matt Rule was from Jersey. But he became someone they loved because of the straight line recruiting, a part of what the message was, and he wasn't from there. He worked, but then there's others that have been. Some that have been connected to it. Art Briles was very much a part of the Texas High School Football Coaches Association in that landscape as well.
I think maybe sometimes you might need that just because Texas Tech has been through 3 coaches now that didn't land, and in Tuberville and Kingsbury and Matt Wells and to get your recruiting started, maybe you want somebody who can walk into high school coaches and then go, yeah, I know what this guy's about. And I think that's probably where it matters. Maybe not as it shouldn't be a prerequisite because you can come in from anywhere.
Right.
If you know what you're doing, you know what you're doing. But I think sometimes it can help you.
Dave Aranda's an example.
Out the
he's
door
at Tech
pretty
for
quickly.
A little bit, but he's from California. Was at LSU, Wisconsin. That's again, Dustin Maddox. We appreciate his insight on Joey McGuire. Here's a note on one of the coaching jobs that's no longer going to be open, although it almost was, Nebraska. And Florida, that might be. Worst Power 5 records the last 10 games against Power 5 opponents. Kansas and Vanderbilt are 0-10. Arizona snapped their losing streak, 1-9. But on the list of 2-8, South Carolina, who just beat Florida, who's on the list, Florida and Nebraska are 2-8 in their last 10 games against Power 5 opponents. Same as Duke, Indiana, and South Carolina. That's where those 2 programs are right now.
Yeah, I mean, just piling on. Yeah, they're not very good right now. That's why we're talking about Scott Frost being retained rather than fired and Dan Mullen being on a hot seat. I mean, it's a fall from grace for sure, and I'm curious to see, how much longer the Mullen saga lasts in Gainesville and if Frost can turn this life raft into, perhaps an actual future in Lincoln, or if this is just going to be his saving grace for the next, year, and then we're doing this all over again. Certainly, I think it'll be good to see Nebraska with a different look at quarterback, and obviously the coaching changes were probably needed. That has been the theme, though, is, big coaches rumored to be fired only to clean out their staffs and get a mulligan, and so we'll see. I mean, once you clean out the staff, you don't get another chance after that typically because, what other direction do you go other than the head coach? So Scott Frost better hope that he nails these hires, replacing Lubick and the others on offense. And, I don't know what Dan Mullen, obviously recruiting's a big thing for him. I don't know where that kind of stands now, especially as of right now. But, yeah, those are 2 to keep an eye on. And I'm not one of those that thinks that, like, Texas always has to be good for college football to be at its best, or Alabama always has to be good for college football to be at its best. I don't believe that. There's more than enough blue bloods for some to be up on any given year and some to be down on any given year. But while Florida's had its moments here and there, they have not been, really themselves in quite a few years. And Nebraska for going on 2 decades, really. So, yeah, something's got to change, but it won't be the head coaches for the time being. We'll see what happens.
One note from a Baylor fan on the message board from Bear Bryan. For those of you in any concern about the Texas hierarchy with McGuire at Texas Tech, please take note that Texas freaking Tech just hired a Baylor assistant as their head coach. There's been a lot of things that have happened within the athletic department as far as spawning out with players, basketball coaches, now with Joey McGuire, Matt Rule now with Carolina, among others. When we come back,
Yeah, I mean that's interesting. You know, he is a Baylor guy technically, and we'll see how he does. You know, I'm really excited for him first and foremost. I don't think it's a guarantee that he's going to go there and have massive success because I'm jaded. You know, Tom Herman was supposed to go and have massive success, and this guy and that guy was supposed to go and have massive success. But if I had to put my money on Joey McGuire, I'm definitely putting it on him succeeding in this new role, and excited to see what he does with that program. But obviously, his welcomes in Waco in the future will be very interesting because I know a lot of the fan base loves him, but they sure don't want to lose to him.
No, they won't. They don't want to. And you've seen a little bit of that turn. You've seen how beloved he was, but you also have seen kind of that twist. Whoa, wait a minute. You're now in the enemy territory. From Chris Smoky, Paul Craig, Traylor deciding to stay at UT San Antonio. Do you see that as an indictment of Tech or an affirmation of UT San Antonio's potential?
Both. I see it as both. I think that he does see potential in UTSA. Am I a believer that he's going to be there for the next 20 years? No, I'm not at all. For the next 10, probably not that either. For the next 5, maybe even not that. You know, I think Traylor is destined for a bigger job eventually, but I think timing, this just made sense. And you know, I do think it is a little bit of an indictment on Tech, but that could be as simple as not really an overall indictment. It could be as simple as he just didn't want to live out in Lubbock. You know, he might want to stay closer to the metros. I'm not sure what his personal preferences are, but, you know, he's got a good thing going in San Antonio. I think it's a matter of time before, you know, more schools come calling. But for Texas Tech, you know, maybe not their first choice, but definitely one of their top choices. So I think it'll work out for them in the end, but a little bit of both.
To change direction a little bit, and oh, by the way, Chandler Morris was the Offensive Player of the Week in the Big 12. That's a surprise. To change directions, we're going to hear about what's coming up with WrestleMania in the spring up in the Dallas-Fort Worth area.